Hi, my name is Grace, and as someone who works in publishing, my physical TBR is growing at a rapid rate. So I started reading all the books in my physical TBR series to try and counteract my bad habits, and in this episode we're reading The Will of the Many by James Islington. This is the first book in the Hierarchy trilogy, where we follow a young fugitive who's uncovering mysteries and world-changing secrets at an elite academy.
I just finished reading The Will of the Many, so let's talk about it. I am first and foremost an epic fantasy reader, and I haven't picked up an epic fantasy since I finished reading the Stormlight Archive back in, I think it was April of this year. I had such a good time with that series that I just didn't feel ready to dive into anything else just yet. I'd seen so much excitement around The Will of the Many by James Islington, and I knew that The Strength of the Few, the second book in the trilogy, was coming out in November. So when I pulled a prompt from my TBR jar for a title for more than 5 words, I knew I was going to have to pick up The Will of the Many. And let me tell you, this book did not disappoint. This was such a perfect 5-star read for me. It had everything I absolutely love in an epic fantasy. The world building is absolutely fantastic. It's very Roman inspired. And Viz is such a good main character. He's so interesting. And I'm always excited to learn more about him, learn more about the magic system as he's learning. And he's definitely the perfect character to be viewing this world system in. This book also is very heavy on the political intrigue. I feel like the more epic fantasies lean into political intrigue and world building, the better they are, and this definitely has it all. Don't get me started on the plot. Every new bit of information I learned about this world system, about our main character Viz, about what was going on around him in the political landscape, I was just eating up every new bit of information they were giving me. And as soon as I put this book down, I knew I was going to have to run to the store and immediately pick up The Strength of the Few. This book just made me absolutely want to devour it. Like, I could not put this book down. Every single time I had a spare moment, this book was in my hands. This series is definitely getting me more excited to pick up more epic fantasies as well after this. This was my first book also by James Islington, because I knew he also wrote The Shadow of What Was Lost. I always get that confused with The Shadow of the Gods. They're very similar in my mind, even though they're completely different books. But I've been wanting to read The Shadow of What Was Lost for ages, but when I saw the good reviews of The Will of the Many, I knew I was going to have to pick this up first. But I'm definitely now going to go back and read The Shadow of What Was Lost. If you've read both, I'd be really interested to know which of the 2 series you prefer, even though I know this is unfinished. Now, I think it goes unsaid, but I highly recommend this book. I gave it 5 stars. I'm already reading The Strength of the Few and enjoying it equally as much. But if you love a fantasy or an epic fantasy, I definitely recommend you pick up this book. I will say the only downside of this book is how small the font is. However, maybe get it in ebook. It would be slightly easier to read. But if that's the only downside of a book is the font size, you know it's going to be a good read.